Good morning, Anne-Sophie.
Hi Jade, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you? Morning and welcome to our creative coaching conversations. We obviously know each other. We've got a long history together of being friends and colleagues, and we worked together at Haunch of Venison for a long time with artists, shows, working on projects and sales and all sorts of things together. And similarly, left there and went on to work with artists individually. You were working with Damien Hirst, I was working with Jonathan Yeo, so we've got similar experiences working for artists directly. And coincidentally, we've ended up also coaching creatives and going into coaching businesses. So it's really, really interesting to be chatting together and covering topics that we both find interesting.
So, thanks for the intro. So today we're going to talk about we're doing actually. Sorry, I'm doing. We're going to launch our series of conversations, which I hope is going to be a long series. And today we chose to talk about resilience because it's been a hot topic for the past year, obviously because of the pandemic. And we hope that we're going to clarify what resilience is, how to build it. And we came to this subject first because we've noticed through our practice that creative people have a great ability to be resilient. And so we're going to walk you through that and show you how by developing your creativity, you can also develop your resilience. So Jade, what's the definition of resilience?
Yeah, well, we looked it up, didn't we? And the definition is the capacity to recover quickly from difficult circumstances, toughness, the ability of a substance to spring back. So I think it's that springing back. It's coping with challenging situations and being able to turn outcomes and circumstances that you find yourself into a positive, into a gift or an opportunity. And we've obviously noticed that lots of the people that we coach are creatives and able to tackle these challenging circumstances in creative ways. So there's obviously a big link between them.
Yeah, so you actually said it very well. It's also, I mean, great resilience is the one that leads to new opportunities. And this is where creative thinking kicks in, because creative thinking, which is based on creativity, helps you focusing on solutions and not problems, and helps you focusing on the different opportunities. It's based on creativity because it combines all the traits and the skills that you train as a creative professional, but it's a very pragmatic way of approaching a challenge or a situation. And it happens that it has a lot of common elements with resilience. So we're going to walk you through that, hoping that by training one or the other, you can develop the other aspect of the conversation.
Mm.
So what are the common elements? Which one do we start with?
Well, I think it's that ability to kind of explore your options really, and look at a situation in the whole and see the different sides, different perspectives. I think. What about you? What do you think?
Well, I think yeah, exploring, being confident enough to fail, and then take a learning from it. And I think all this starts by asking the right questions and
Mm.
formulate them in a
Mm.
positive way. So what are the examples of questions that we could ask?
Well, in coaching, we use questions like, how would you love it to be, or what would an ideal situation look like? How would you love it to be? So you really start to kind of project into the future how a situation could be, and imagine that and explore that, and use innovation and creative thinking basically.
Mm-mm. Right. And then questions are really the symptom of curiosity, which is also one of the strong elements that define creativity and resilience. Is the more curious you are, the more you get out of your comfort zone and you ask questions, the more you're going to develop this ability to experiment, feel confident about it, use your Gore-Tex brain and not your reptile brain, which tells you to hide and protect yourself every time you face a challenge. Yeah, so curiosity definitely is another very strong element of resilience and creativity.
I think it's comes down to sort of a mental fitness, doesn't it? And knowing that your mind is not always going to serve your best interests, and knowing your kind of trigger points, and then really being able to kind of use your best sort of inner strength. And how do I mean that? That means kind of seeing what the problems you're facing are triggering in you, and being able to counteract those by a kind of positive mindset change, so that you can get to a safe sort of calm flow state, which we've talked about before. And then you can rely on your own sort of adaptability and flexibility and cope with it. But
yeah, mindfulness, the flow, are all really fed by self-awareness and have a clear understanding of the situation, of where you sit in this situation, what are the options, what is realistic, what is not too realistic.
Are there any techniques you recommend for your clients or you practice yourself that can build your resilience?
Well, I think I would start with curiosity and how you train your curiosity. So, for example, what I do with clients, I mean, creative people are by nature usually quite curious, but to train it, you really have to make it almost systematic. It sounds a bit rigid like that, but it's not. So, use the question, "What else?" Every time you start getting interested in a subject, just keep asking the question, what else, what else, what else can I learn, what else is beyond what I'm learning, and that really develops your curiosity.
There's a technique called the 3 gifts technique, which is seeing a situation and learning, sort of trying to sort of objectify it and say, okay, what am I learning from this situation? Then what is the kind of power I can gain from it? Which sounds strange, but the kind of old saying is, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. But kind of thinking, okay, this is a situation, what can I grow, how can I grow from it, and what can I gain from it, to try and turn it around from that negative into a positive in some way. And almost like using it like a weight in the gym. Okay, this is a challenge, it's going to build me up, it's going to strengthen my resilience, and if I can cope with this, then I can grow. And then seeing the inspiration that comes from it. So knowledge, power, inspiration. What new situations, what new possibilities are springing from this that I might never have actually thought about before?
What else? What other aspects do we practice when we want to train resilience?
For me, it's that mental fitness thing of trying to, calm myself when I'm faced with day-to-day stresses and anxieties. And that can be little moments of mindfulness, checking in and resetting yourself by really simple techniques, whether it's breathing, exercise obviously is a bigger thing, but just moments, even just tiny kind of moments of checking in, rubbing and having intense kind of experience of something as simple as rubbing your thumbs together. For me, that kind of works. Just calms.
We were just talking about, before starting the conversation, about that yoga breathing, the one that comes from the bottom of your throat. I mean, I know that a lot of my clients practice meditation, but it's not always possible to sit still for like 15, half an hour. And then some people are on top of it, not really keen on doing that. But even like 30 seconds of deep breathing is already centering you and giving you much more clarity on the situation you're in.
What about other daily practices or you can recommend?
I think what is really interesting about this link between creativity and resilience, or creative thinking and resilience, is that by practicing creativity every day, which is, it can be journaling, doodling, drawing, or doing something with your hands, like, you know,
Mm.
knitting, I don't know, gardening.
Yeah.
Um, if you make it a regular practice, like a routine practice, it frees, I mean, from a neuroscience point of view, it frees your mind. It really opened the space you need here in the cortex for this kind of, I mean, people think it's like a magical thing, but it's not, for actually creativity or resilience in that instance, because they're using the same elements to get together, to, you know, using all these aspects we mentioned, all of a sudden they click together, and this is what you call the spark, really.
Yeah.
But you know, the work to arrive at the spark, or the work to arrive at this moment of true resilience, takes a long preparation.
Mm. I was just thinking about the toughness of the, you know, when we defined what resilience is, that toughness, sometimes it comes down to kind of routine and creating a structure. And I
Mm,
know we work with people who often work in isolation. We've all been in isolation with lockdowns and stuff anyway, but people who are working on their own and trying to keep that daily motivation and positivity and
mm,
focus going can be helped by creating some simple routines in your day that promote a sort of healthy habits and healthy productivity.
mm. Right. I think that there's a misunderstanding about creativity and resilience. The first one about resilience is like, it means that you're tough. Well, no, sorry, it doesn't mean you're tough. It means
Mm.
that, you know, you have storage of headspace to be able to face challenges. That's what resilience is, really, not really being tough. And also, you're ready to accept that some challenges are going to be really difficult. That's
Mm.
the first step.
Mm.
And then the other conception or misunderstanding about creativity is like it's something that needs freedom. Actually, no, creativity is something that needs structure,
Yeah.
a long, hard work structure before
Mm.
you arrive at the spark, before you arrive at this feeling where your mind feels free.
Yes.
Um,
Exactly. You've got to create the opportunity for the freedom to happen, haven't you? Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Any sort of um, things that people can take away and actually do themselves. I mean, I think sometimes if there's like a little exercise you can do, um, it can be really helpful just to kind of figure out where you're at really and actually put pen to paper.
Right. I think I like one of yours that you suggested. You know, the for one negative thought, you write three positive ones.
Yeah.
That's a good one. And then, can you tell us about the circles as well? What the,
Yeah, there's this circles of influence and control. So the idea is you get two pieces of paper. On one, you list all the things that are really bothering you, issues, things that feel out of your control, and you know, worries, problems. And then on the other piece of paper, draw a big circle and start to try and think about what you can have influence over, what you can control. And it can be really start at the absolute basics. You know, I could get up a bit earlier and have a bit more time to do that, or I could. So it just starts to give you a sense of that control and being able to tackle things, and
I
start
think
small.
when you say small, I think it's very important for people to remember that, hopefully
Mm.
at the end of this conversation, that it starts with small things. Don't make them big,
Yeah.
because then they become oppressing, and the pressure, and you add pressure on yourself. But just really start by small things. Small self-awareness exercises, I would say, are the best. um, I remember when I started meditating, my teacher was asking me to put an almond or a nut in the palm of my hand every morning, and mentally describe it, like all the feelings, all the
Mm.
sensations I would get. And I saw the difference after weeks. I was able to describe it in a much more meaningful way,
Mm.
instead of just like the basic, oh, it's brown, it's light, and you know, it doesn't smell much. But so I think these little things, people who are listening to us, you should focus on little things, because
Mm.
they make the big victories.
And balance, isn't it? It's all about balance. And there is something you can look up as this a wellness wheel, and it shows you the different elements that are really essential to whole
Mm,
well-being. And that's kind of emotional, social, physical, intellectual, financial. So I can't remember all 8, but they are all equally important. And I think sometimes scoring yourself on the different elements and making sure that you are having some sort of balance, and giving credit to where you're doing really well, and looking at the areas where you're not so good. And obviously with the pandemic, we've suffered socially, emotionally, haven't been able to do the normal things we do and see friends and see family. So it's trying to create that balance all the time.
I will share the wheel at the end of our video so people can understand what we're talking about, because I think it's a very good visual way of making a self-diagnosis of where you are at in your mental fitness, physical fitness, and what you should be working on. Well, I think we've talked about all the aspects we wanted to
covered it.
share with everyone. If anyone has a question, they should reach out to you or me or both. You'll find our email addresses at the end of the video. And if you have any questions or suggestions, or themes, subjects you want to talk about and want to know more about from a coaching point of view, please share with us, because we hope it's going to be a long series of interesting conversations.
I hope so. Good
Nice to see you, Jade.
Really nice to talk to you. Bye.
You too. Bye bye.